Turn around for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Okay, I'm
under
going to take
arrest.
the tip. I'm going to take the tip.
That doesn't change anything. You still are going to be arrested.
For what?
Okay.
You don't have any proof on me.
No, ma'am, I do.
She
GloRilla
called the police for help and ended up in jail herself. GloRilla's house was invaded, her family traumatized, but somehow, she's the one facing felony charges. What really happened that night? The truth will leave you speechless. GloRilla just landed in serious legal trouble after cops uncovered a hefty stash of marijuana inside her home. Combine that with her past DUI and reckless driving charges, and it's starting to look like one of Memphis's brightest stars might not see a stage again anytime soon. But this story isn't as black and white as it seems. What led to this moment is deeper than the headlines suggest. GloRilla's rise was nothing short of electric, straight from the trenches to the spotlight. But right now, it's a dark chapter. The Memphis rap queen is sitting behind bars, and it all unfolded fast. On July 22, 2025, she was taken into custody in Forsyth County, Georgia, facing felony charges tied to marijuana and a controlled substance. Sounds bad, right? But before jumping to conclusions, let's unpack what really happened. This wasn't about street-level drug hustling or a routine traffic stop gone sideways. No, this was something far more twisted. While GloRilla was outperforming at the WNBA All-Star Weekend, her house was broken into by burglars. And when the cops rolled in to investigate the break-in, instead of chasing down the intruders, they zeroed in on the weed they found in her bedroom and made her the suspect. Let that sink in. Imagine calling the police because your home's been invaded, your family's been shaken, and your valuables have been jacked. Now imagine those same officers turning around and slapping you with charges. That's what happened. They didn't chase the criminals, they arrested the victim. GloRilla had to cough up over $22,000 for bond just because some personal cannabis was found in her place, while she wasn't even there. She didn't hold back on social media either. Her post hit like a gut punch and lit up Twitter with over 3.6 million views. She wrote about how her home was broken into while she was performing in Indianapolis, and how instead of hunting the thieves, law enforcement went after a bag of weed. The frustration was real and for good reason. To understand how wild this twist is, you've got to rewind. Before the fame, before the controversy, there was Gloria Hallelujah Woods. A girl from South Memphis with a dream and a lot of odds stacked against her. This isn't a storybook from the bottom to the top tale. This is real-life grit and survival that even Hollywood would struggle to script authentically. Gloria grew up in a house bursting at the seams, 9 siblings in total, with 6 brothers and 4 sisters, all packed into one of the roughest neighborhoods in the South. In South Memphis, struggle was a daily routine. Furniture, air mattresses, meals, a question mark. Just making it to the weekend felt like a win. But from the beginning, Gloria stood out. Her mom saw something special. While the boys were all named Carmichael, and the girls got Nicole, Gloria was blessed with a middle name that carried weight, Hallelujah. A name that hinted at purpose, strength, and something bigger waiting on the horizon.
I always say she marked me, but I ain't never feel no special than none of the other kids who y'all was treated the same. It's just growing up, my mama had me near her, like I was like, right.
Now here's the twist that might catch some folks off guard, especially if you only know GloRilla from her gritty street anthems. Long before she was rapping about being F&F and dominating the mic, she was rooted deep in the church. And not just showing up, she was in it. Singing in the choir every Sunday, pouring her soul into gospel classics like Amazing Grace and Encourage Yourself. Church wasn't just a weekend thing for her family, it was a lifestyle. And believe it or not, this girl had serious vocal talent. She wasn't just a rapper, she could really sing.
I used to sing Amazing Grace. I used to sing this song called Encourage Yourself.
You were really a singer.
Yeah, I used to be singing in church, like I had a good voice. And then, once I had gotten in high school, we weren't going to church like that. When I got into high school, then I started, when I got in high school, I had started smoking weed.
Forget the singing.
But you know how life goes, especially in neighborhoods like hers. The streets have a way of pulling on young folks, even when their roots are in the church. By the time high school rolled around, Gloria's Sunday choir days started fading out, replaced by new distractions like experimenting with weed and exploring a different kind of rhythm. Singing took a back seat, and slowly, the blueprint for a future rap career started sketching itself out. Then came 2022, and everything shifted. Gloria linked up with producer Hit Kid in what would become a defining moment of her life. They cooked, Up FNF, a track that wasn't just hot, it was explosive. This wasn't your average studio session, it was lightning striking in real time. The kind of rare spark you can't rehearse or recreate. The song exploded on TikTok, climbed the Billboard Hot 100, and even grabbed a Grammy nomination. But FNF was more than just a banger, it was a cultural shift. This anthem became a movement for women tired of accepting less. Free wasn't just a hook, it was a mantra. A declaration from women everywhere who were done with dusty relationships and low standards. FNF screamed, "I don't need a broke dude to define my value or validate my life." It was bold, it was raw, and it was necessary. But of course, when a song hits that hard, the drama comes knocking, and the FNF fallout was no exception. Hitkid, the producer, started airing grievances. He accused GloRilla and CMG of trying to grab rights to the track behind his back. According to him, he warned her that labels would come calling and told her to loop him in. But in his version of events, she moved without keeping him informed. "Told you every day while we were in LA that labels would reach out because of FNF. I said keep me in the loop. But you still signed my song without telling me," he claimed. But GloRilla wasn't about to let anyone undermine her work ethic or question her come-up, her clapback, sharp and powerful. She said she hadn't made a cent off FNF, aside from live performances, but that didn't stop her shine. "I can rap for real," she declared. "Ain't no one-hit wonder over here. I wrote every word I ever put out." And even in the midst of the beef, she still showed loyalty. "I got love for Hitkid 'cause we came up together. But let's not act like he ain't been moving shady since the song took off." This messy chapter was just a taste of what the industry had in store. The music world is ruthless, full of snakes in suits. And when you're young and blowing up fast, everybody wants a piece. Labels were flying her out, selling her dreams, lining up contracts. But Glo didn't let the hype cloud her judgment. What set her apart from other rising stars wasn't just her talent, it was her instincts. She didn't rush. She took 2 weeks to hear everyone out before she finally sat across the table from Yo Gotti. And even then, the decision wasn't easy. Gotti was a Memphis giant with a strong rep, and sitting down with him felt bigger than business, it felt personal.
So when I had finally linked with him, it was on a yacht. We had met on the yacht and stuff, and we were just chopping it up. And then the rest was history.
How you get to Gotti last, though? Gotti right there in Memphis.
Right, because it's like, I don't know. I probably was scared.
What locked in the deal with Yo Gotti wasn't just his street rep or the money on the table, which was something deeper: vision. While other execs were scrambling to recreate the FNF lightning strike, Gotti saw the storm before it formed. He didn't just hear a hit, he heard an artist. On that yacht, when Glo plugged in her unreleased tracks and let them ride, his response wasn't corporate, it was real. No marketing jargon, no fake hype, just genuine belief in her future. This wasn't about squeezing a single hit dry. Gotti understood what FNF meant to the culture, to Memphis, and to the industry. He saw GloRilla as the next queen in a city that had already reshaped the rap game. For him, this was legacy building, but while she was signing record deals and rising fast, something darker was creeping in, the kind of thing that doesn't get caught on camera until it's already too late. The warning signs came in April 2024, when Glo was pulled over in Gwinnett County, Georgia. For a DUI, celebrity arrests aren't rare, but the footage from this stop told another story. Before sobriety tests, before charges, you could already feel it. Glo wasn't being treated like a person. She was being handled like a headline. When the officer asked her to identify herself, she didn't hesitate to call out the energy. "You're still going to pick on me," she said. And that wasn't paranoia, that was experience. She knew fame didn't protect her. If anything, it painted a bigger target. "You can smell alcohol," the officer said. "But I'm not drunk," she fired back. And she meant it. The body cam footage revealed more than just a police interaction. It showed a woman who was tired. Tired of not being heard. Tired of being reduced to an accusation. Her confusion and frustration weren't just emotional, they were justified. "Turn around for me," the cuffs went on. "That doesn't change anything," the officer told her. "You're still going to be arrested." "Proof?" "I do," he said, without showing any. That moment wasn't just about one night, it was a warning shot. But the system wasn't done. If anything, it was just getting started. Even as Glo's music skyrocketed with hits like Tomorrow to featuring Cardi B, Catching Fire, the pressure intensified. With more fame came more scrutiny, and not all of it was about music. She faced heartbreak that hit so hard she stopped eating. She spoke openly about how pain can silence hunger, how sometimes you have to force down a protein shake just to keep functioning. "I never want anyone to have that much power over me again," she said. Those words resonated. Because while the world saw a star, she was still learning how to be human under the spotlight. And that vulnerability, it made her real. So when controversy came knocking in August 2024 over an offensive lyric, Glo didn't hide. She faced it head-on. She rewrote the line "in me and my BH got naughty" and dropped the updated version with no excuses, just growth. The internet responded with love. "A considerate queen," one fan wrote. Other artists should take notes. Her debut album, Glorious, dropped in October 2024, but even that moment got tangled in backlash. The track Rain Down on Me, featuring gospel greats like Kirk Franklin and Maverick City Music, sparked debate. Critics questioned the collaboration, citing her explicit catalog. But real ones knew the truth. Glo wasn't exploiting gospel. She was returning to her roots. She didn't fake faith for streams, she lived it, sang it, and carried it with her even now. She kept that same energy when trolls came for her body. "No, I'm not getting a BBL," she said proudly. "I already feel like the thickest B*** in the world." It wasn't just a clapback, it was a lesson in owning your image, your confidence, and your lane. By July 2025, Glo was performing at the WNBA All-Star Weekend. Everything she dreamed of was becoming real, and, till the night of July 20th, while she was on stage in Indianapolis, criminals broke into her Georgia home. 3 suspects forced entry. An armed family member returned fire. The invaders stole jewelry. Her family was traumatized, and Glo's sense of security shattered. But what happened next flipped the whole narrative upside down. Instead of hunting the intruders who violated her home and terrified her people, the police went after her. Their focus? A few bags of marijuana found in her bedroom closet. That's right, while the real criminals ran free. The cops built a case against Glo, the victim. In a state where weed is still criminalized, they decided that cannabis was the bigger threat. And get this, there have been no arrests tied to the burglary, no suspects in custody, no justice for the trauma her family endured. But Glo, she's facing felony charges for weed in 2025, when cannabis is legal or decriminalized in most of the country. Let that sink in. The backlash was instant. Social media lit up. Fans, fellow artists, and activists didn't hold back. It was another glaring example of how the justice system flips. The script punishing black success while letting real criminals vanish into the shadows. But it was Glo's own words that lit the flame. "Crazy. My house got home invaded while I was in Indianapolis, performing ... And instead of finding the suspects, they focused on cannabis." Over 3.6 million people read that tweet. And then came the mic drop. "My house gets home invaded and I'm the only one who gets arrested." Let's lay out the facts. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office responded to a burglary call at 1:30 a.m. 3 suspects had broken into her home. An armed family member fired shots. The suspects fled. No injuries reported. No arrests made. But that didn't stop deputies from bringing out the K-9 South, drones, and search warrants, all to go through a bedroom closet and find weed. That was their justice. Glo's attorney, Drew Findling, laid it out clearly. When her family called for help after a violent break-in, law enforcement focused on what they could charge instead of what they should have investigated: the people who kicked in her door. Still out there, Glo, facing years behind bars. And that's the real tragedy. Here, this isn't about weed. This is about power. About how systems are designed to make success look like a threat, especially when that success is young, black, and independent. Glo didn't wait for the narrative to spin. She took the mic, kept her head high, and showed up for her Glo Bash performance at FedEx Forum. No cancellations, no apologies, just presence, just power. Because from her days in the choir to becoming one of rap's most authentic voices, GloRilla has never let anybody else tell her story. And she's not about to start now. But what GloRilla's facing right now goes far beyond one artist or one legal case. It speaks to a deeper issue: a system that repeatedly targets young black artists who rise to fame. It's like success itself becomes a crime when it comes from the wrong zip code. As soon as someone like Glo starts winning, the system starts hunting for reasons to pull them back down. Her felony charges possession of marijuana and a controlled substance carry real weight. If she's convicted, she's not just facing prison time. It could also mess with her ability to perform overseas, cut off career opportunities, and disrupt the very empire she's spent her life building from the ground up. Think about the irony. A young woman who climbed out of poverty, went from air mattresses to million-dollar deals. Someone who gave back and used her voice to uplift others now being dragged through the mud. She's exactly the type of story this country claims to celebrate. But instead of protecting her, the system seems determined to punish her. And let's not forget, this isn't her first brush with the law. That DUI back in April 2024 already signaled a growing trend, one that looks a lot like targeted scrutiny. It's as if Glo's success lit her up like a target for authorities who can't handle her rise. Now, the legal road ahead for GloRilla is rough, and that's putting it lightly. We're not talking about petty charges here. These are serious, felony-level accusations that could derail everything she's worked for. It's not just her freedom at stake, it's her future, her ability to tour, to create, to grow. These charges could block international travel, keep her off global stages, and shut doors that she's spent years breaking open. But if her past has shown us anything, it's that Glo doesn't fold under pressure. She was built for the storm. She's been through too much, come too far, and grown too strong to let this moment define her. Her legal team knows what they're up against, and they're not playing it safe. They've come out swinging. Attorney Drew Finneling made headlines when he called her arrest a disturbing example of law enforcement losing sight of real justice. And that wasn't just for show. That statement echoed far beyond the courthouse walls. It struck a nerve across the country among fans, activists, and everyday people who are tired of seeing successful Black artists criminalized just for making it out. Because that's what this feels like. Glo's rise has become a target.
Forsyth County Sheriff's Office said that the deputies responded to a report of a burglary in progress Saturday around 1:30 a.m. at a residence in the Atlanta suburbs. The sheriff's office says 3 suspects entered the house when an armed occupant fired at the intruders. GloRilla was not home at the time of the burglary, the sheriff's office said. The 3 suspects fled. No injuries have been reported in the incident.
Let's be real. We've seen this story before. A young Black artist climbs from nothing, builds an empire with raw talent and hustle, only to be dragged down by a system that seems hell-bent on reminding them where they came from. It's the kind of structural injustice that makes you question whether success is ever truly enough. And yet, despite all of that, Glo continues to stand tall. Even in the face of criminal charges, courtroom dates, and public opinion, she refuses to let this moment steal her voice. She's still speaking loud and clear through her music, her resilience, and her presence. No one knows how this story will end. The legal process is slow, uncertain, and often unforgiving. It could take months, maybe even years, for everything to fully play out. But regardless of what happens inside that courtroom, one thing is absolutely certain. Glo has already made history. She's already changed the game. Her impact goes far beyond Billboard charts and platinum plaques. She's become a symbol of persistence, of transformation, of survival. She showed the world that you can come from the bottom and still shine, that you can be both street smart and spiritually grounded, that you can fall and rise again. Whether she walks away a free woman or becomes another name added to the long list of Black artists failed by the justice system, her legacy is solid, cemented, untouchable. She helped shift the culture. She inspired a generation, and she proved that being real, raw, and resilient still matters. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, there's more where it came from. Tap on one of the boxes on your screen to keep exploring powerful stories of resilience, culture, and truth. You're not going to want to miss what's next.